Hey there everyone, today I'm going to show you a demonstration on how to get better prints or more accurate prints out of Bambu Studio. This is for particular situations where you have a mesh file um, and you want to be able to edit that. In this case we're using like a 3D scan, but it could also apply to downloaded mesh files and things like that. Yeah, so I'll take you through some of the processes there for using that particular thing. So I've done some examples here of the kind of progress. So this is a 3D print file of a gerbera flower that one of my students is doing. So we used our new Einstar 3D scanner to create this mesh. I'll take you through the first few stages of doing this as well. So to get a first kind of stable print, we just kind of logically split it in half, printed it on a flat surface, on a smooth plate, and just super glued the thing together. Printed in PETG, looked really good, but we want to make these into like little lights. So what we need to do here is, source the lights from somewhere, and then try and work them into our design. We probably could go into Fusion and do some modeling this way and edit them, and that's fine. But I also noticed that you can use positive and negative parts in Bambu Studio, so I thought I'd just do that here. So this is pretty much what we want our final result to look like. And here I've got a mix of positive and negative parts that work with the pre-existing, mesh scan of that flower. And so what's going to fit in here is a little disc of LED lights, and a little bit of space there for the wires to feed through, etc. And then a negative part for the wire, the main part of the wire to feed through here, and then a positive part as the tube to kind of reinforce the stem here as well. We won't worry about this little bit here, that's fine. But this is pretty much what it's going to end up like. So to do this, we're going to start with the STL, we're going to upsize it, then we're going to do all of this work and then lock this in place as an assembly, and then we'll cut it and do what we did in the first kind of iteration. So let me get stuck into it here. So I'll go and grab my gerbera. I've repaired this, so this is the original here. What I've done is I've brought this in. Bambu's detected non-manifold edges, which is like open edges, and it's just repaired it. So yeah, I'll open that, and it'll come in like this. And the first thing I noticed is after measuring the little LED light that we wanted to put in there, there wasn't a lot of space to really do that on this internal part here. So the first thing I did was to scale it up, and I just did a uniform scale of 120%. Yeah, into that, that's all there. And now I just want to get into some kind of orientation where I can, put all of this together. I found that the best orientation for this was vertically, with the stem facing down and the flower facing up. So really, these are the main tools you're using across here will be the kind of scale, rotate, and move as you add in each part. So I'll just do that by eye. Yep, so move that until it's facing up more or less. I'll go over here. Use this so it's kind of facing up. And then just, try and get that flower. It doesn't really matter, you don't have to get it like in a perfectly vertical position, but just something you can work with. And once that's in position, kind of facing somewhat in the way that you want it, you want to go to your STL file. You'll see plate 3 here, and over here we're in the objects tab. So we've gone down, we've got our printer, filaments, all that stuff. And instead of global settings for just a straight up print, we're going to go to objects. And when we do that, we can right click and add stuff. So you can see all here, you might have seen these menus before. Add part, add negative part, add modifier. I haven't really played with anything apart from the first two here. It's just positive and negative parts, and then you do positive and negative processes in CAD, so should be a cinch. First things first, we need to add the shapes that we need. We're going to be using a series of cylinders. So I'll just copy in a cylinder, go OK here. And so what you'll notice over here, just to get the structure of things on plate 3, this is an assembly. This can also be a way of printing things off the print board if you want to. So if you go to one object and move it around, you'll notice that, it's not doing it for me now, but if you go here and move this assembly around, it can be a way of like printing something off the print board. But because it's a negative part, it's probably not detecting it, so yeah, all good. Anyway, I have done that before with the positive part and it's worked, so anyway. We'll go here, the cylinder we will bring up, and you can align it, which is quite handy. So I'm going to align it with the center on all 3 axes, and then this is all under the move menu. I might actually put it at the bottom. I'll design it and then I'll flip it and put it into the right orientation. So now I want to change the scale of this thing. So I need a specifically sized cylinder. So this will be 32 mils by 32 mils by 3. This will fit the little LED disc that I want to fit into this light here. So now I've got to move it down. So I'll put it in a certain position. If I change it to Z0, you'll find a problem here, or a potential problem where the 0 is in the middle, the 0 coordinate's in the middle of that object. So if it's a 3 mil high object, you want to add half of that just to get it on that print plate. And from here, I'm going to take that same cylinder shape, I'm going to copy it and paste it. You'll notice another cylinder's come over here, so I can move that. It's an exact copy of its friend here, so I'm going to just use numerical control to get it exact. So I'll get the second disc. I'll put that, if it's 3 millimeters thick, it should be there like that. No, sorry, 4.5. So that's the thickness. Sorry, that's that, plus half of the thickness of the next one. And I also want to change the size of this as well. So I'll change this to 15 by 15 and leave it at 3. So that's good. Then I'll take this one, copy it, paste it. You'll notice another generic cylinder's down there. And I'll change the scale of this one. So this one, I want it to be quite long, like 40 millimeters high. I've measured the internal wire to be about 3 and a bit millimeters, so I'll give it a bit of slack and bring it up to 4. And these are all negative parts, right? They're all sitting vertically. Doesn't really matter if they kind of, butt up against each other, because they're all negative parts. They're all going to end up as the same negative space. And they're all grouped together. So with an assembly, this all moves together if I'm selecting this bit. But then to move individual parts, I can go around here and move them as well. Last thing I need to do here is, for this particular step, is right-click again. We'll go here and go add part, and I'll add another cylinder. Notice that this is a positive part, so it's not a negative part. We're going to go add part and make that a cylinder. And I'll set the dimensions for this, and then I can align it. I've aligned all of this together as well. So scale, set the dimensions. I want this to be about 8 millimeters by 8. And I want this to be about 40 millimeters as well, but I want to have a hole at the end too. I'll head over to the move menu and add this to the center of my modeling environment. As I will with these. There we go. So that last little alignment there, see, placed it directly over this whole assembly here. I have played with sub-assemblies, but then it looks like it kind of kicks this out of the assembly as well. So I'm I'm still learning on that one. So here, all I need to do with this part is get this positive part into position, and then when I move this into position, I'll do it all as like a grouping. So put that down. I want this part here, I want this little cylinder here just to kind of poke through a little bit. So I might even change the length of the negative cylinder. So I'll go here, change its length to 45. That'll change the length from the middle out, so you need to reposition it a little bit, but just like everything, we're just eyeballing it. Okay, so that is pretty much it for our little sub-assembly here of mostly negative parts. And now we've got to move this whole thing into position. So it's going to flip 180 degrees and sit underneath this main part of the pedal here. So we'll do that on the x-axis, flip it to 180. Okay, and then we get to move this around just using these basic direction arrows. So I'll move it up. And what I want to look for is kind of, I'll look at the top and try and center it. You'll see it's a little bit off from the natural form of the flower, so I'll either move the flower or the negative part. You can see I've got the flower selected here. I'll move the negative part from here. So move it a little bit this way. And you'll see here it's kind of sticking through the middle of the flower. So what I want to do here is now find the right angle for it. So you can see here it's kind of on the left hand side there, it's clearing before the right hand side. So I'll put it until it's all clear, and then I'll try and get this angle for it. So I'll go to rotate, and I'll try and rotate that angle in the flower. And it'll be a little bit of kind of rotating and positioning just to work out the right spot for it. What I like to do is just go here and kind of position it this way, look at it from this angle, look at it from the left angle. So you can see here it's probably a little bit too far. So it's probably rotated well, but in terms of movement, I might need to move it over this way a little bit. Take it from the top. We don't want too little, we want a little bit of volume between the negative space in the front of the flower, so I probably could move it back into the flower a little bit. And we're just kind of trying to settle it into that little position there where it's kind of somewhat centered, but we only really need to just kind of just check it visually rather than having to make it exact at this stage. Now, the one thing you'll notice here is the negative space that's going to house the light is going in this direction, but then the stem's kind of popping off in this direction. So what I can do here is I can change the position of just this part, right? So I could go up here, move this, go back to rotate, change the rotation to align with that stem. And go back to move, change the vertical height. Move this across. And just kind of feeling my way through it. I'll still, hopefully it will, hopefully it all works. This will still come out as a, add to the overall assembly. This here, jiggle that out just a little bit, maybe. But I can also cut this off or whatever I want to do later on. Move this down a bit. If I wanted to, I could take this one negative part and just extend it a bit further with the scale button. Just also keep in mind that it'll move from the center out. So I could make that 50, but then there's a potential for it to kind of pop out the top here. If I look at it from the side, it's still all good. It's still sitting inside the other negative parts, and it's going all the way through here to kind of give me that stem that I want. I can do the same here as well, so I'll go 45. Yep, that's good. Fairly happy with that. Okay, so we've got the part for the electronics kind of sitting in there, and we've also got the negative part for the wire to come out. And the good thing about this is a lot of these kind of lily pad LED designs, you have to unsolder and resolder. Because we're now going to be cutting this in half, you can kind of line it all up, make sure it's fitting properly, feed your wire through, and then, you know, do your gluing and stuff like that to lock it in place. So, but once it's in there, it'll be, you know, to get back your work, you'll need to sacrifice your, to break your STL file. So what we're going to do from here is cut this. So we'll click on our whole assembly, and then we'll go to the cut command. We'll put this in a vertical position. And what I really like about this here is that we can kind of see where, where we're looking. Like we can see what's inside the kind of geometry that we've set for ourselves. So you can, or you will need to do the fine tuning like angles and stuff like that for it. And you want it to kind of, you know, match up in that way and get it in about the middle of the stem. Like I said before, it doesn't matter if there's like little tiny errors, but it should be fine like that. Back a tiny bit. Cool. And after we get to this point, we're going to go perform cut. And what I really like about this process here is it preserves, you know, the assemblies that we've made here in both of them. So now what we have to do is arrange them. So they're two separate STL files, two separate assemblies, and we just go lay flat on this face, and we'll move this one on. Lay it flat on this face, and arrange. So that should be it. And if I go and slice this, you'll see the result. So I'll go slice plate. And fingers crossed, this will work and do exactly what we need it to do. Cool, it worked perfectly. So you can see here, we've got these, you know, shapes sitting inside, and then so when we should be able to just slot the little lily pad LED design here, print everything else over the top of it. I don't have to worry too much about these overhangs; it should be fine. And we'll be able to feed out a little light, a little wire, and everything like that. It should work quite nicely. So I've got this on PETG translucent. Don't know what I would say, don't need that. But yeah, it works quite well. So go ahead and practice that. This can be a good way of just, you know, getting mesh files that are, you know, of organic shapes like flowers and things like that, scans, what have you, or even stuff from Blender, like really, you know, accurate meshes or detailed meshes. You can just chuck them straight into Bambu without having to worry about CAD or the Surface tab in Fusion. This can be a bit more easy and user-friendly. So there you go. Have fun modeling, and thanks for watching.